association, or is it somehow causative?
Sarma says lots of use of a chatbot for mental health support could just be a sign that someone is struggling, or it could trigger bad outcomes, or some combination. But he says there is evidence that longer chats are more likely to veer into dangerous territory.
My fear is that what's happening here is that a model, over the course of these really long conversations, is kind of getting dragged off center into a place that's not reality-based.
OpenAI declined an interview request from Marketplace, but the company has acknowledged that existing safeguards work best in brief exchanges with ChatGPT and sometimes fall short over the course of a drawn-out interaction. Nicole Martinez-Martin, a bioethicist at Stanford, says AI companies have a responsibility to help users avoid emotional dependence on their products.
Limiting the amount of use, for example.
But Martinez-Martin says that's at odds with those companies' business models and design choices.
That ultimately are meant to boost engagement, that are meant to bring someone back, to keep using it more and more and use it in more personal ways.
OpenAI says it's consulting with medical experts and will roll out parental controls and other new safety features before the end of the year. David Cooper with the consulting company Therapists in Tech says there is a place for AI in the mental health field.
We can use these tools to our benefit. I usually frame it for therapists of what if you had an assistant that could help you run your private practice, that could help you engage with insurance companies.
But Cooper says a lack of access to human clinicians is part of the problem. Financial barriers and a provider shortage help explain why so many Americans are turning to AI for mental health support in the first place. I'm Savannah Peters for Marketplace.
Meta also says it's blocking its chatbots from discussing self-harm and suicide with teens and is directing them to expert resources. In New York, I'm Sabri Benishore with the Marketplace Morning Report. From 8 p.m., American Public Media.
This is 89.9 WWNO and WWNO.org, New Orleans Public Radio, NPR for Southeast Louisiana since 1972.
Support comes from The Warehouse, a co-working community on Dauphine Street in the Bywater, offering memberships for offices, desks, and shared tables, plus day passes and conference rooms by the hour. Membership includes high-speed internet, printing, conference room time, and more. Work at thewarehouse.com.
Skies are fair, 77 on the lakefront, 77% humidity, sunny today with a high near 89. Days after sending U.S. gunboats to South American waters, President Trump said the U.S. Navy struck a vessel in the Southern Caribbean carrying what he described as a Venezuelan drug shipment. We'll have details coming up, but first, an NPR News update and Louisiana News with Karen Henderson. I'm Diane Mack. Good morning. It's 8 o'clock.
Good morning. People abused by Jeffrey Epstein are in Washington today. One talks with us. Why does she think the president blocked the release of information? It's Morning Edition from NPR News.
U.S. House Speaker Mike Johnson will have a Democratic opponent in next November's general election. Details ahead.
A federal appeals court says the Trump administration may not use a wartime law from the 1700s to deport Venezuelans. I'm Steve Inskeep.
And I'm Michelle Martin. Trump says the Venezuelans are gang members, but the judges ask, what if he's wrong? And the complicated relationship novelist Arundhati Roy had with her mother, who was a defender of women's rights but cruel toward her own daughter. It is Wednesday, September 3rd. On this day in 1838, Frederick Douglass got on a train in Baltimore, the first leg in his journey to New York and his escape from slavery. News is next. Live from NPR News in Washington, I'm Corva Coleman. More than 1,000 employees of the Department of Health and Human Services say they want Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. to quit. Today, they signed an open letter. They state that Kennedy's leadership has put the health of all Americans at risk. This open letter to Kennedy is also addressed to Congress. The staffers say they've already pleaded with Kennedy to stop spreading inaccurate health information and to stop firing health experts. The staffers say Kennedy has never responded to them. Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker says he believes the Trump administration is already staging federal agents and military vehicles in Chicago. The governor says he's getting information about the president's plans from sources within the federal government. The member station WBEZ, Mago Iqbal, reports.
Governor Pritzker says Trump is readying to send the Texas National Guard and immigration officials currently stationed in Los Angeles, just as many Chicagoans prepare to throw festivals and parades celebrating Mexican Independence Day.
Unidentifiable agents in unmarked vehicles with masks are planning to raid Latino communities and say they're targeting violent criminals.
Illinois Attorney General Kwame Raoul says he will not hesitate to sue the Trump administration. For NPR News, I'm Mawa Iqbal in Springfield, Illinois.
President Trump has decided to move the U.S. Space Command from Colorado to Alabama. NPR's Mara Liasson reports.
In an Oval Office event, President Trump says he's reversing Joe Biden's decision to keep the command in Colorado. The Space Command oversees military space operations and the defense of satellites. This is not a new position for Trump. At the end of his first term, he also tried to move the command to Alabama from Colorado. Now he says the move will boost the economy in Alabama.
This will result in more than 30,000 Alabama jobs and probably much more than that, and hundreds of billions of dollars of investment.
Trump says the Space Command will help the U.S. dominate the high frontier by building the so-called Golden Dome, a missile defense system for the U.S. and Canada. Mara Liasson, NPR News.
China is celebrating the 80th anniversary of the end of World War II. Chinese leaders staged an enormous military parade, and some 24 foreign leaders attended. That included Russian President Vladimir Putin and North Korea's reclusive leader Kim Jong-un. They were welcomed by Chinese leader Xi Jinping. NPR's Anthony Kuhn says those three leaders did not hold a three-way meeting.
Xi, Kim, and Putin are expected to hold bilateral meetings among themselves, but there's no trilateral meeting of these three nuclear-armed nations expected. The question is, will they have them in future? Unlike the U.S., South Korea, and Japan, they don't have a trilateral office of their own. They don't have three-way joint military drills yet.
NPR's Anthony Kuhn reporting. You're listening to NPR News.
It's 8:04. Here's your Louisiana news. A new immigration court is opening in Baton Rouge next month. Report for America Corps member Alex Cox has more.
The new court will be in the heart of downtown in one of the old Chase Towers. This is according to the Executive Office of Immigration Review, an agency within the Department of Justice. Louisiana has 3 immigration courts already. The one in New Orleans has a backlog of more than 37,000 cases, according to TRAC, an organization that gathers data on the U.S. immigration system. In Baton Rouge, I'm Alex Cox.
U.S. House Speaker Mike Johnson will have a Democratic opponent in next November's general election. Conrad Cable, a vegetable farmer from Union Parish, has announced he's running for the District 4 seat.
My wife and I struggle at the end of every month to make sure that our bills are paid, and I think that I have a greater understanding of the day-to-day struggles that the majority of Louisianans face.
Cable says he has a plan to raise money to go up against Johnson, who's sure to be well-funded.
I believe in my heart that organized people beat organized money. And so we are taking fundraising seriously, and we know that it's going to take $5 million or more to put up a serious campaign against Mike Johnson, and that's exactly what we intend to do.
This is Cable's first run for political office. Louisiana's new federal waiver banning soda, sugary snacks, and candy from SNAP purchases is now official. In a video posted to Instagram, Governor Jeff Landry showed off the signed waiver and explained what it changes.
So you will no longer be able to buy sugary candy, energy drinks, or soft drinks, no more soda pop, on food stamps. But guess what? We're adding rotisserie chicken.
In the video, Landry thanked President Donald Trump and Secretary of Agriculture Brooke Rollins for approving the change. He says this new policy
How come I can't get on food stamps?
SNAP beneficiaries are more likely to have higher rates of obesity. That creates a greater risk for chronic diseases. We want to make Louisianans healthy.
The changes are set to take effect next year. A new investigation finds LSU isn't properly documenting feedback or complaints in youth events athletic programs. All NCAA Division I schools are required to conduct exit interviews with athletes when they graduate or when they're eligible.
Oh yeah, I swallowed all words.
Between the Illuminator and Kyrie Rad found that LSU was not conducting
Swallowed all my words. And some of my values too, I flushed them.
Exit interviews LSU conducted and chose to release. The investigation found complaints about facilities and athletic staff, including allegations of bullying and intimidation by staff. LSU did not respond to questions about why they only document certain sports or how many exit interviews they conducted since 2021. With Louisiana News, I'm Karen Anderson.
Support for NPR comes from NPR stations. Other contributors include Capital One, offering their premium travel card, InsurePix. What's in your vote? Terms apply. Details at CapitalOne.com. And listeners like you donate to this NPR station.
It's Morning Edition from NPR News. I'm Steve Etsky.
And I'm Michelle Martin. Good morning. In a few minutes, we'll hear from one of the women who abused Jeffrey Epstein. She is one of many here in Washington today who are pressing Congress to demand more information about the convicted sex offender.
This is the latest news story that is inconvenient for the White House. The president spent part of yesterday dismissing questions about. Today, some members of Congress are trying to force a vote to make the Trump administration release the Epstein files. Trump's Justice Department first promised to release more information about Epstein and then abruptly said, move along, nothing to see here.
NPR senior political editor and correspondent Domenico Montanaro is with us now to tell us more about all this. Good morning, Domenico.
Hey, good morning, Michelle.
So explain what these lawmakers are trying to do.
Well, the two members of Congress who are at the center of this effort are Republican Thomas Massie of Kentucky and Democrat Ro Khanna of California. Massie filed what's known as a discharge petition on Tuesday. That's a procedural maneuver to try and get around leadership and force a vote. They need 218 House members to sign it and force that vote. It would still need to pass the Senate, though, so this wouldn't force a release on its own. But proponents hope that this will ramp up political pressure on the administration to do more. To an extent, it's already having an effect. I mean, after the petition was filed, the Republican-controlled House Oversight Committee released some 30,000 more pages of documents related to the investigation, but a lot of that information is already public. It's not new, and those in favor of the release, of more release, are saying don't be fooled by that.
So release. Well,
I want to highlight how Ro Khanna describes what this effort in discharge.
Good morning, Internet. All right, stand by. Man, how are you doing, Mr. Cow? Mr. Nandi Bull? How's that bayou flowing? Nandi, good morning. Good morning, my boy. Yes. Yes, your boy. Good boy. He's a good boy right there. Isn't he a good boy? Tell me. Isn't he the best boy? So patient.
Prices, crime, or immigration. But that's not to say it doesn't matter to people. It's one of the rare.
I'm gonna put some music on right about. Never know, there might be boats passing. We get tugboats, sports boats, fishing boats.
Aloha, my friends, how do you do? It's sunny here and I want to share with you. I heard a little voice the other day. It was Mother Earth and
Jake the Snake comments, what the fuck? Derek comments, what the fuck? Vitakas comments, hi. What the crap is he doing? Dude looks like he's on fentanyl, juicing.
Sustainability is what we need. It's nature dancing with the economy. We've got to get together to make things right, so our children can sleep at night.
Yeah, yeah, yes, yeah, 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 yeah.
Changing. We need to change our ways to make a better day.
Huh?
Just live your life naturally.
Hua, hua, yeah, hua. Hey, hey.
Just live your life naturally.
Hua, wow, wow. Hey, hey, mama, sing me that healing song. I embody this healing in my life. Roots grow down, roots grow down. Rain from the heavens, this healing sound. Roots grow down, roots grow down. Rain from the heavens, this healing sound. I embody great spirit in my life. I embody great spirit in my life. Roots grow down, roots grow down. Rain down from heaven, this healing sound. Roots grow down, roots grow down. Rain down from the heavens, this healing sound. I embody creation in my life. I embody creation in my life. Roots grow down, roots grow down. Rain from the heavens, this healing sound now. Roots grow down, roots grow down. Rain from the heavens, this healing sounds. I embody God, goddess in my life. I embody God, goddess in my life. Roots grow down, roots grow down. Rain from the heavens, this healing sound. Roots grow down, roots grow down. Rain from the heavens, these healing sounds. I embody this healing now. I embody this healing now. We embody this healing now.